Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Bellator 98, Shlemenko versus Cooper, which happens on Saturday, September 7th. As far as the fight card goes, it's interesting in the sense that you do have the bantamweight tournament opening round, but you also have the majority of the middleweight tournament opening round. It's tough to say if it'll be that great or not. I mean, you have Brian Rogers, he's a fun guy to watch. Jeremy Kimball, he's a good prospect. A legit, middleweight prospect. Some new faces, too, Justin Torrey. I mean, these guys fought in, the Bellator prelims and whatnot, but haven't fought in, the tournaments. So, yeah, Justin Torrey, Mikkel Parlo, I believe he lost to Sultan Alayev, Perry Filkins, Jason Butcher, who's been doing really well on the Bellator undercards, if I'm not mistaken. On the prelims, you do have Patricky Pitbull Freire. Otherwise, you have a couple prospects in the prelims. Mike Musatelli is undefeated. Brennan Ward, overall, it's not the strongest prelims. So I'd say it's a good average card, not a great card by any stretch. I'm actually surprised how many people wanted to see Shlemenko versus the Rhino, Doug Marshall. Because Marshall does have the Rhino punches, and he can knock out any man cold. And, fighting Shlemenko, the only thing he has to say about that is America. And the haters fuel him too, so. I actually like the guy. I like a guy that has bravado like that. You need more characters in MMA, so I have nothing against the guy. I actually wanted to see that fight because the guy seriously does hit hard. And Shlemenko does rely on his chin, a little too much. So I thought that would have been an interesting fight. Not to say Cooper versus Shlemenko is not a bad fight, but Shlemenko's already beating him. So let's get started. Okay, on the main card. For the middleweight title, we got Alexander Storm Shlemenko versus Fudoshin Brett Cooper. Shlemenko's beaten Cooper by unanimous decision back in 2011. It was a really fun fight, This will be really interesting, too. Shlemenko, really well known for his unorthodox striking. He uses a lot of spinning strikes. Has surprisingly good cardio, considering how much, spinning he does and whatnot. His grappling game is actually underrated. I've seen him hit triangle chokes. I've seen him hit guillotines, And he's super aggressive, always pushing forward, and has a really good chin. Trains out Ross fighters as well. Brett Cooper, 19-8 record, 12 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub. Trains out Rain, he's 26 years old. Just one of those all-around good fighters, just good at everything, not great at any one thing, Standard's not bad by any stretch, He did get knocked out by the Rhino, but he did knock out Dan Kramer in a come-from-behind victory. Always pushing forward, really aggressive guy. He's a good wrestler. He's more of a guy that pins you up against a cage, really forces that takedown. Stays relatively busy and has some good cardio. The fact of the matter is though, that I think that Shlemenko is going to win this fight. I think Shlemenko's just the better striker. He is good on the ground too. The few times I see him get taken down, he does try and get back to his feet when he's taken down. Has a lot more experience, beaten him before. I got to go with Alexander Shlemenko to win this one. Okay, next fight after that we have Nick Kirk versus Joe Warren. Well, Kirk, he has a 10-2 record with 1 TKO and 3 subs, 30 years old, trains at the academy. Other notable fighters that train out of the academy would be Mike the Marine Richmond and Rose Thug Namajunas. Joe Warren though, 8-3 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by decision. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO, and he's 36 years old. I know there's Rhino Sport Team, but he also trains at Team Quest. He has a strong Greco-Roman wrestling. He's really relentless about getting takedowns. Got some good top control and good ground and pound. His overall defense sucks though. I've seen him get into tight submissions and just kind of power out of them. And his stand-up defense needs a lot of work. Regardless, I think Joe Warren will utilize his normal game of using his wrestling, his clinch game, forcing the takedowns, staying on top, hitting some ground and pound. I got Joe Warren winning this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have Andreas Spang versus Justin Torrey. Spang, 8-3 record with 3 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. So actually on a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Michael Falco, and he got Falco, and he got knocked out by the Rhino. Okay, so there's a pattern here. Yeah. So he is a good kickboxer, and he has a really strong left hook. His grappling needs some work though. Justin Torrey is 7-0 undefeated record with 6 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by decision. One thing that's worrisome about him though, he last fought in May 2010. It's going to be a pretty long layoff fighting a guy that's fought relatively recently, despite coming off a 2-fight losing streak. Just on the sense that he's not coming off a layoff, I'll go with Andreas Spang to win this one. And next fight after that, we have Filkins versus Jeremy Kimball. Well, Filkins, 7-1 record with 6 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by decision. Yeah, he's on a 5-fight win streak. Kimball, I remember this guy opened some eyes when he beat Chidi Njokawani on, I forgot if it was like an RFA or Legacy or XFC. It's one of those. I think it was a Legacy card, actually. 10-3 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He also has 3 losses by sub. That 1 win by sub was over Chidi Njokawani, actually, and he's on a 6-fight win streak. I saw his last fight against Keith Berry as well. He showed a good wrestling game in that. Showed that against Chidi as well, actually, and some good ground and pound. He's always the type of guy that's willing to, not really content to stay in one position when he's on the ground. You'll see him pass guard a lot of times. Always open to passing to mount, I like what I see from Jeremy Kimball overall. I'll go with Jeremy to win this one. Okay, next fight is that. Mikkel Parlo fights Brian Rogers. Interesting fight, Parlo, 9-1 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He's only 23 years old. Has some, knockout power. But so does Brian Rogers, 10-5 record. 8 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He actually has 2 losses by KO or TKO, being to Shlemenko and Andreas Spang. That was a huge upset, actually. 29 years old, trains at Strong Style Fight Team. Other guys that train there would be guy who just beat Roy Nelson, Stipe Miocic. He's trading wins and losses right now. He just lost to Dan Kramer in his last fight. Really fun fight. One of the biggest problems with Rogers is his cardio. His grappling isn't great, but it is improving, and he does have one-punch KO power and some rather unorthodox striking. The guy will go for flying knees. Watch it on YouTube, guys. That's what he said, and whatnot. I'll go with Brian Rogers to win this one. And finally, we have Jason Butcher versus Giva Santana, the Arm Collector. Well, the Arm Collector has an 18-2 record with 1 win by TKO, 16 wins by sub. He is 41 years old, and he trains at Team Oyama. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners out there. I train at Rampages, actually, and a lot of guys from the Lotus Club, actually, they are instructors at Rampages. One thing about Santana, though, is cardio isn't that great. Butcher 6-0, undefeated record with 1 win by KO, 5 wins by sub. He's 28 years old, trains at Team Gurgel. He is a finisher, you know. He's never been past the first round. He does have good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu himself, as 3 of his wins are by triangle choke out of his 5 submission victories. So this is kind of interesting because Butcher's mainly well known for his ground game, but I would think that in this fight he may keep the fight standing against Santana, considering how potent a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner Santana is. I gotta go with youth over experience here, though. I think Butcher will be able to defend the takedowns, beat him up on the feet. Maybe he'll get his own takedowns and try and ride top position. It wouldn't be that inconceivable. A bit dangerous, though. I'll go with youth over experience, though. Jason Butcher for the win here. Okay, on to the prelims. Derek Anderson fights Patricky Pitbull Freire. Well, Derek Anderson has a 9-0 undefeated record with 1 no contest, 3 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. So he is a finisher on a 2-fight win streak. Patricky is coming off a 2-fight losing streak, actually. Lost to Lloyd Woodard, and then he lost to Eddie Alvarez. He got knocked out by him. Got submitted by Lloyd Woodard. You know, interesting enough with Patricky, he's only won 1 of his last 4 fights. He won his fight before that against, I think it's like Pellegrino or something like that. And then before that, though, he lost to Michael Chandler. Despite that, though, still a good prospect. 10-4 record, 7 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. He's 27 years old. Trains out at Team Nogueira. Strong Muay Thai, heavy hands, really good knees. Good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He has improving wrestling. His cardio is sometimes iffy. One thing that's a problem with Patricky is he does have a tendency to brawl. You'll see him throw like looping left hooks. I mean, you see a lot of his fights, that looping left hook. I've seen him hit it on like Toby Amada, he got flying knee. He threw a flying knee on Amada, threw a looping left hook, finish him off. You see that move a lot from Patricky, and it works for him and against him because he gets countered off of it a lot of times too. But outside of that, I think Patricky wins this one. He's a good overall fighter. He's not as good as his brother Patricio, but he's still a very solid lightweight. Next fight after that, Mike Musatelli fights Jeff Nader. Or Jeff Scary Nickname Nader. That's his nickname, Scary Nickname. Okay, Scary Nickname has a 5-5 record with 4 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by decision. His 2 losses by sub. He last fought in March 2012, and he only won 1 of his last 4. That win was against Dan Kramer, and then he ended up losing the rematch against Dan Kramer. Musatelli, 5-0, undefeated record with 1 TKO, 4 wins by sub, so he is a finisher. And he's never been past the first round, which is a bit worrisome, but I'll go with Mike Musatelli to win this one. Next fight after that, Brennan Ward fights Dave Vitke. Well, Dave Vitke has a 12-12 record with 1 draw, 3 wins by KO TKO, 8 wins by sub. He also has 8 losses by KO TKO and 2 losses by sub. But it's on a 2-fight win streak. With Ward, he has a 6-1 record with 4 wins by KO TKO and 1 win by sub. I'll go with Brennan Ward to win that one. Okay, next fight after that, Ryan Quinn fights Andrew Calandrelli. Well, Calandrelli, 6-3 record, 4 wins by submission, 2 wins by decision. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Trains out of Ultimate MMA, Connecticut. I think CT's Connecticut. And he's also trained in Nova União. Ryan Quinn, 7-4 record with 1 draw, 1 win by TKO, 2 wins by sub. I'll go with Andrew Calandrelli to win that one. Okay, next fight after that, Matt Bissett fights Nick Piedmont. Piedmont has an 8-3 record with 1 draw, 3 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. It's on a 2-fight win streak. With Bassett, 11-4 record with 1 TKO, 4 wins by sub, 3-fight win streak. I don't know much about these guys. I'll go with Matt Bissett to win this one. I mean, quite honestly, these next fights, I don't know much about these guys, so they're just picking fights for me. So, Glenn Allaire, in the next fight, Glenn Allaire fights Rico Desculio. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, Desculio. Well, Glenn has a 3-1 record with 2 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. Also has 1 loss by KO, so he's never been to decision, and he's never been past the first round. With Rico, he has no pro MMA bouts, but he's 6-3 as an amateur, with 4 of those wins being by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub as an amateur. He also has 2 losses by sub as an amateur, but he does train at a team Sit Yodong. I'll go with Rico Desculio to win that one. And finally, Josh Diekman fights Parker Porter. Okay, Diekman has a 12-5 record with 8 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. Also has 3 losses by sub. He's 36 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. He is a finisher, though. All of his fights go to a finish, and most of his fights don't go past the first round. Parker Porter, 5-3 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by sub. One of them's pretty respectable. Was a loss to Gabriel Gonzaga. I think he last fought actually Gabriel Gonzaga back in October 2011. So then it's kind of a pick and fight for me. I'll go with Parker Porter to win this one. So to recap on the main card, I have Shlemenko over Brett Cooper, Joe Warren beating Nick Kirk, Andreas Spang beating Justin Torrey, Jeremy Kimball beating Perry Filkins, Brian Rogers over Mikkel Parlo, and Jason Butcher beating the arm collector Giva Santana. On the prelims, I have Patricky Pitbull Freire beating Derek Anderson, Mike Musatelli over Jeff Scary Nickname Nader, Brennan Ward beating Dave Vitke, Andrew Calandrelli over Ryan Quinn, Matt Bissett over Nick Piedmont, Rico Desculio beating Glenn Allaire, and Parker Porter over Josh Diekman. So that's it for my predictions for Bellator 98. If you guys have any comments, just leave them below. That's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.